And I just saw Halloween Ends yesterday, and honestly, it's a mixed trick or treat bag of good and bad. I don't think it was the worst at all in the franchise. I definitely appreciated where the direction went with it, and it pretty much being like its own story, much like Halloween 3. Even the credits, color blue, homaging to the third film. Um, I thought the character development was pretty solid, as far as Laurie and the new character Corey. Not so much for Allison, aside from the forced romance. That's one thing I didn't like about it. It just felt weird, and really out of place, honestly, for me. Um, with the whole copycat killer storyline, and then, the town's paranoia, towards Laurie and Corey, and Allison. It the social commentary is done well, um, but also I think that, um, this being the third installment and David Gordon Green's Hellion trilogy or quadrilogy, it was just a weird timing and bad timing, honestly, to do this. They should have at least picked it up in 2018, or at least Halloween Kills, if anything, instead of the whole hospital scenes. Um, Introduced him there somewhat, somehow. So felt so out of place. But then also, I really think that, uh, the ending. Well, let's get to that later. But, um, the score is great, of course. By John Carpenter, and I liked the opening scene a lot. With we see Corey with the knife up the stairs. Much very reminiscent to Michael Myers in the first film, 1978, and, um, it was just fresh, and I admired that very much. And they've even done several fan films that, you know, leaning towards the anthology idea. So I'm not against it at all, and I actually like it and welcome it. Again, it was just weird, this being the third chapter and supposedly final chapter, as far as the Laurie Strode era and Jamie Lee Curtis's final performance as the character, and as the iconic final woman. And I thought it was a poor send off, honestly, to her character, really, and her legacy, and also Michael Myers. Like, he was weak throughout the whole movie, and I didn't like seeing that. But again, like, we see his brutality in Kills and 18, and so it's not like, for me, it's not. I mean, I'm not happy with the decision they went with that, but at the same time, you know, with this new character involved, it really centers around him anyways. So if they had Michael in it, you know, for 5 minutes or even not at all, it really doesn't do much for the story. Um, like, because really it centers around Corey. And I thought that aspect was pretty strong. And again, I admired that, where they went with this. But as far as the Michael aspect and then the climax, or lack thereof, is very anticlimactic, especially this being the third entry, or fourth, technically speaking. Um, and there are some choices that were just really corny, like the argument between Allison and Corey. It felt forced, and it didn't feel organic to me anyway. The romance, it was too fast, even for a 2 hour film, almost. And, you know, I do think there are some moments of good dialogue, especially between Laurie writing her memoir. Um, and the one thing I hated, really, was the team up kind of thing between Michael and Corey. It wasn't really a team up. He was just there following behind him. Um, but it just seemed like teaming up to me, honestly, is really corny. And in poor taste to me. But then, uh, the whole Christine story angle, them following that plot pretty much, which that's more of a homage to Stephen King because it's his original story, but it was, John Carpenter adaptation of a film. Um, but then I also liked how they, included The Thing and the intro, which is John Carpenter's remake of The Thing. And, there was, again, like, there's good and bad in it, I think. I don't think it's just cut and dry a bad film. Um, I just think, the timing was bad for this idea, and also just some of the things they done, like again, the ending, it just felt like it didn't really feel cohesive, or, and some of the, throughout this trilogy of David Gordon Green's films, Halloween films, they're all inconsistent anyway. Like, some of the twists, like especially with Dr. Sartain, it feels out of place. But then that's kind of a the first step where we see he's trying to do his own thing, but then also like create different little intersections of characters having some different form of evil or something involved, or, you know, it not all evolved around Michael Myers exactly, but then they kind of killed off Sartain whenever that twist evolved or happened, and so it just kind of went back to the Halloween Laurie versus Michael thing. So, but again, like the whole Corey plot wasn't so, like, it was kind of already being built upon in 2018 with Dr. Sartain is what I'm saying, I guess. But then, you know, much like Halloween Kills, the legacy characters were wasted, as I mentioned in my review. So is Kyle Richard in this film. She doesn't have anything to do. She didn't even need to be in the movie, honestly. She's just gonna do nothing. Um, but yeah, I just think like as far as the ending, it could have been so much better. Like, it just it didn't even last like 5 minutes. You know, it didn't feel like neither Laurie or Michael give their all. You know, to whoop some ass. Um, like all that is um, pointed towards Corey. Really, he gets all the action, and um, you know, I can see why a lot of fans would be disappointed in that. I was too as well, but again, before I expected it, reading the synopsis and reading about it and everything. So, if I'd gone into this not knowing what to expect, it would have pissed me off much like Sartain. Because when I saw that, I was like, what the fuck? When I first saw it in theaters. And, you know, um, it wasn't as bad of an experience, really. I mean, as that moment was, honestly, even though there was some bad moments. Um, like, I don't know, just the crowd, the town's residents carrying Michael like he's a rock star, and everything. It was really lame when they destroy him permanently. Um, it could have been a much stronger ending, and like I like how um, Barker, not Barker, yeah, the sheriff, and Lori do, have like a little sit down, and it was obviously leading to them maybe starting a relationship or something. But I don't think that was the good way to end the film or Hellion film. It should have been ended where she is typing her memoir, honestly. But, and then you see Allison leaving Haddonfield finally, which is what she wanted to do from the beginning, which was, put into her head by Corey. But of course, that was, again, them leading up to his character and his, his story throughout the whole film, only for him to off himself. I really wanted to see Lori and Corey against each other, honestly, instead of what we got in the film. And of course, there's just so many things that, obviously fans disagree with, and I'm not saying they're wrong either, because as a fan myself, it could have been so much better and so much more than what it turned out to be. But it wasn't the worst either. I enjoyed it for the most part. There were some weird decisions they made. It could have, I don't know, had some tweaks, and